you are usually going for very traditional styles that you mentioned that you already have a sensoric position in your head.
Right.
You've told me before that kettle souring, for example, is not something that you respect as much as a brewing technique as all the kinds of.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say I don't respect it. I think there's a place and.
Well, there's a simplicity to it.
It is, yes. It's just then about what flavors or sensory profiles do you get out of it. So, what I think about this technique is, well, it's a valid point to do. It's a quick and easy way.
Like a mixture. If you want to do it,
for instance, again, exactly. So I'm not like categorically against this technique. For myself, or for our brewery, we don't do it simply because we have never nailed the sensory profiles that we wanted to have with this particular technique. Again, I also have tried beers from other brewers where they told me this is made with a kettle or even mash souring, and they actually nailed the profile how I would see it. So I wouldn't say
that would be the reason to use it.
For instance, right?
Yes.
So I'm not saying because all the kettle sour beers are bad or whatever. There's no place for it. There are brewers that actually can nail it, right? But for my particular perspective on the sensory profiles that we want to achieve, it seems not to work, especially on the scale that we want to follow it up. It's not somehow working.
Is part of the reason also that there is maybe a simplicity also to the sensoric profile compared to other variants to get a more acidic beer, style-wise? That maybe, especially because it's something that you're afterwards maybe barrel aging, it's very important to you, it seems.
Right.
That you're not going for a simple, but rather even if it's predefined in your head, complex profile.
Right.
So that would be one of the reasons to choose a different path style-wise or brewing-wise for you as a brewer.
Right. Again, I think it like heavily depends on the project you want to follow, right? If, honest to God, if I would see a project where I would say, well, this actually makes sense to try with a mix with a kettle souring, again, there's nothing against it, so I would do it. I also think comparing our brewery to others within Switzerland, I think we are the very least brewery which would do, I think we would literally do anything if it makes sense in one way or the other. I think there's no...
Brewing technique wise in terms of style,
ingredients, techniques. I think we tried probably more things than anyone within Switzerland. We brew with trees, with herbs, with mixed fermentation, with spontaneous fermentation. We do a cool shipping project since 2 years. Again, the only one in Switzerland. We have a huge variety of, like, let's say, sensory profiles that you can see. We also go back like generations to see what has been brewed back in the days, being really...
Roman days?
Indeed, yeah. So we have a Roman beer on tap today as well, which is only made with herbs and, for instance, oak, the bark of oak, to give the beers a certain levels of bitterness, because there was before...
A substitute for hops.
Exactly.
Sensorically.
Exactly. Because I also think, I mean, you shouldn't say, or you shouldn't believe that brewers, like centuries ago, were idiots. No, they were probably as at least as intelligent as we are, or as fanatic about beer, or also as inquisitive to actually try new things, right? Because I also think we learned most of our techniques and, let's say, styles and approaches from projects like going back centuries ago. For instance, we also try to revamp certain really old styles that no one really knew about, be it the Grazer, again also on tap today. There was a smoked beer that was made in Poland. There is a Berliner Weiss, I think there is 3 Berliner Weisses on tap today as well. There is the Or Category blend, which is a collaboration we did with Dave from the Or Category blog as well, which initially started to try to revamp a traditional Biergarten style beer as close to the, let's say, historical documents that he could find, including a cool ship and so on and so forth. This is basically what came out, for instance. And there is other things to come as well. As I also said, the Gose that we tried, a Kreut beer, again, no hops at all. I mean, these styles actually help us to understand why, let's
What
say,
happens.
exactly. Plus, I mean, how the beers actually works and how we came to the, let's say, the experience and knowledge as it is, let's say, common ground today, right? Because with these particular things, no one can actually tell you how this works. The only way to try it is to actually try it.
Experience.
Exactly, and this is also the reason why we actually started to open a brewery, right? Because the only way, or started even brewing, because the only way to actually figure out how other beers were working, which there was no way to actually get them, was to copy them or try to copy them, right? And so I think our endeavor is only about try to figure out how things work, push forward, try to do it ourselves, improve on what we found out to actually then apply it on something completely new, right?